We're talking today on tax function of the future and solving legal entity forecast challenges. Let's have a quick discussion around how we're solving it. Maybe, Rob, I'll kick it over to you. What's the first step in thinking about legal entity forecast challenges?
Well, you really need to create alignment between your commercial view and your tax view. And that requires stratifying your existing commercial forecast, the dimensions in which companies typically forecast, to a legal entity basis by overlying your intercompany value chain flows and transfer pricing policy.
Yeah. And David, so he mentioned transfer pricing. Maybe expand on that just for a minute around what are some of the challenges around applying transfer pricing, especially in the forecast process?
Yeah. So, I mean, essentially, the typical, either management forecast or, commercial forecasting process doesn't, allocate results down to the granular legal entity level. And in addition, there are transactions, certainly in the intercompany space, that then have to be folded in. So there's a fundamental sort of data gap that needs to be filled. The other thing I would say that, as we've experienced with leading companies, gaining support for improving these processes is definitely enhanced by finding colleagues in other functions who are equally concerned about the issues. So, I would say what drives the business case for making these kind of investments is, whether it's treasury or supply chain or some other group that is really interested in the same data.
Yeah. Why do we care, Andrea?
Well, we care because tax reform has happened, and unlike the prior regime, there is a need to go granular. So there is a need to understand at an entity level what your attributes are in terms of calculating GILTI. If you're in a tested income, tested loss position, if certain attributes would be kicked out of the calculation, like QBI at loss entities or foreign tax credits. In addition, the need to just be able to monitor, so monitoring intercompany payments, et cetera, for purposes of BEAT. So that need for the underlying detail at the legal entity is now very relevant.
Yeah, as organizations think about what planning decisions do we make, we got to figure out how to convert that commercial forecast to a legal entity with transfer pricing and run it through our tax reform modeling. So that's really the key as to why we want to solve the legal entity forecast issue.